Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen we're making a decadent no-bake peanut butter pie. So let's get started. First off, grab 24 Oreos and we're gonna crush these up. You could do this by hand by placing them in a sealable bag, or just dump them into your food processor. All right, pop the top on and pulse this up. All right, my cookies are finely ground, so now we're gonna pop these into a big bowl and turn it into a delicious cookie crust. Transfer your crumbs into a large bowl. You could do this all in the food processor, but sometimes you get weird pools of butter and it just isn't mixed as nicely as you could do it by hand. I'm gonna drizzle in a 1/4 cup or 56 grams of melted unsalted butter. You could use salted if you love salty things. Mix this up as you drizzle, just so it's not all on top. Okay, mix it up until all that butter is distributed and you have kind of like a wet, sandy mixture. This is all mixed up, so now we're gonna grab a 9-inch pie dish and transfer it over. Just dump that all out. Scoot this into a nice even layer. By the way, if you like these videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's 2 new recipes every single week, shorts, and always something delicious around the corner. Now you're gonna wanna grab a flat-bottomed glass or measuring cup and scoot this up so you have a nice little wall. So I'm moving my crumbs up the side slightly. And then once I have that all started, I can really get to pressing. This will hold together if you press it nicely. If you don't, it'll be crumbly and quite annoying, but still delicious. Just take your time as you press. You don't want to press right away until things are mostly where they should be. That way, the wall will be as thick as it needs to be, not super thin, and the same for the base too. This pie is so easy with a really no-bake cookie crust. Everything just whips up and you pour it in. Then you leave it in the fridge and forget about it. It's the perfect summer dessert. But if you wanted to, let's say you don't love Oreos for some reason, or you're not a fan of cookie crusts, you could make this with a regular butter crust that you blind bake. And I have instructions for that on the channel. Just use a blind baked crust. It'll be buttery and amazing, and then you can have your pie in that. Finish this off while pressing really well. You'll be happy when your pie cuts beautifully and the piece comes right out. My crust is formed and ready to go into the freezer. Pop it in for about 30 minutes. If you want, you could make this in advance and do the filling later, so it could live in the freezer for a bit. Just make sure it's covered. In you go. While my crust chills, it's time to make this really easy filling. In a large bowl, we're gonna add 1 cup or 250 grams of creamy peanut butter. And the peanut butter is actually really important, so I wanna talk about that for just a second. This needs regular peanut butter. So I'm not gonna give you the brand names, but the grocery store kinds, not the fancy, super natural ones. I love those, they have their place. But in this recipe, this has been super processed. So it's like liquid silk. It has emulsifiers in it. It also has salt and sugar added as well. So there's salt and sugar in the peanut butter. That's why it tastes so delicious. If you're using the unflavored natural kind that you stir together and has no added salt, you're gonna have to tinker with the recipe and really mix the peanut butter, add a little bit more salt, add a little bit more sugar to taste, and then it'll be okay. But the recipe is designed for a normal peanut butter. We're also adding 8 ounces or 226 grams of softened cream cheese. This you can press into really well. It's not firm at all. So if your cream cheese has been living in the fridge, or, which it should be, or it's a cold day, just go ahead and microwave this outside of the packaging, just like you would butter. So 50% power for maybe 20 seconds. We're gonna mix this up on medium speed until smooth and well combined. It should be fairly quick. If you're using a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment, you'll need to scrape the bowl down. If you're using a hand mixer, just rake the bottom of the bowl with your beaters. Medium speed. The cream cheese adds richness, it helps this set, and has a lovely tang to contrast with the peanut butter. It kind of grounds everything. Okay. This is nicely mixed. Now we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup or 90 grams of powdered sugar. This will sweeten things up, but you'll notice the consistency will change right now too. This looks a little bit chunky and bumpy. Once we add the sugar in, it'll smooth out and become really silky, as well as perfectly sweet. Okay, And I actually am going to scrape the bowl just a little bit. 3/4 of a cup. We're going to beat this on medium-low until it's just combined. Okay. I kind of want to continue mixing this just to prove the point that it will slacken up, but I don't want to beat a ton of air into this right now, so I'm just going to mix it until it's combined. We're going to grab a separate bowl and add 1 cup or 240 mils of cold, heavy cream. I also want 1 teaspoon of vanilla to give a lovely depth of flavor. Beat your cream until soft peaks form. Start on low and work your way up to high. This is silly with a hand mixer, but I'm just finishing it off by hand. It's time to fold your whipped cream in, but you're not just gonna plop it all in together. That would be trying at best. When you have a really thick mixture and a delicate one, you're gonna fold it in batches. So the first quarter or third is a sacrifice. It's giving up so many of its bubbles to lighten the mixture. So plop that in and start mixing. Fold it, cutting in the middle. Your goal is to make this less thick and dense, so when we add the rest in, it'll fold in and incorporate more easily. This looks really nice. It's already a much lighter color, filled with air bubbles. So now I'm gonna add in half of the remaining whipped cream and fold that in. Let's be nice and gentle. Use your spatula to scrape the bowl down and come up through the center to cut in, and repeat. So you're making circular motions, almost like a convection current. Okay. Once all the streaks have disappeared, add the remaining whipped cream in and finish folding. At this point, your biggest issue is going to be not nibbling on this because it's so delicious. This goes in your pie crust. This mixture looks like a silky smooth peanut butter cloud. It's time to grab our crust and assemble this. Transfer your silky, amazing peanut butter filling right into that Oreo crust. If you noticed any unmixed bits, it's not too late just to mix them in. It's bound to happen, so don't worry about it. Smooth your filling out into an even layer. This looks so good and creamy. You're also hunting and pecking for any large air bubbles to eliminate them. There we go. Your beautiful pie needs to set, so give it at least 6 hours in the fridge or 3 hours in the freezer. This is such a great make-ahead pie. You can cover it well in plastic and refrigerate it for 4 to 5 days, or ungarnished, it can be frozen for up to 3 months. Just thaw overnight in your fridge and it'll be delicious as the day you made it. Once it's chilled, we're gonna garnish this and make it a showstopper. In you go. My pie is chilled and I whipped up half a cup of cream with a few tablespoons of sugar and a dash of vanilla. It's really to taste. This pie was begging for a few simple dollops of whipped cream, so I'm adding them with a piping bag fitted with a closed star tip. I also chopped up some mini peanut butter cups and I'm placing those on the top. Just so you know, this is a delicious peanut butter pie. Give it a slice and you're ready to enjoy. Creamy as a peanut butter cloud, perfectly sweet with a crunchy, crisp Oreo crust. So good. It is a match made in heaven. I hope you get a chance to make this easy recipe, and if you like this video, hit that subscribe button and check out my No Bake Pie playlist.